Today on the CTV News at 5, Lethbridge Regional Police officers meet tonight for a vote of confidence on their chief. Plus, it's that time of year. Flu shot season is here. And why 800 XL Foods employees in Brooks will be called back on the job for one day.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Lethbridge Regional Police officers will be meeting tonight to determine whether the membership still has confidence in Police Chief Tom McKenzie. The special meeting will be held at one of the city's high schools. The only item on the agenda is whether the rank and file have confidence in the ability of the chief to lead the organization. The Police Association says the meeting was driven by membership, and association reps aren't speculating on what the outcomes might be or what will happen next, but they are anticipating a large turnout tonight.
I would hope that the membership is going to turn out, and I expect that in large numbers, due to the fact that this is a contentious issue and has far-reaching consequences. And I can tell you, the board of directors and I think the membership of the Lethbridge Police Association don't take this very lightly.
On Friday, Chief McKenzie issued a written statement thanking officers and community members who've reached out to express their support. He says he hasn't been asked to attend the meeting, but would welcome the chance to speak directly with anyone who has an issue with his leadership. Lethbridge police have charged a 32-year-old man in connection with 3 sexually motivated attacks, 2 against sex trade workers in the city. All of the incidents happened in the downtown core last Thursday. Police say within hours of each other, 3 different women were assaulted after they were approached by a man and solicited for sex. In one case, a 26-year-old woman got into a vehicle with the man and was driven out of the city. Police say the man began choking the woman, shook her, and punched her in the face. The victim was able to escape.
As a female, if you're approached by someone who tries to grab you or tries to force you to another location, you need to make as much noise as you possibly can, scream for help, scream for someone to call the police, attract attention to yourself. That's very important.
Nadir Louis Kumbako of Brooks faces 10 charges, including 3 counts of sexual assault. He was in court today, but his case was adjourned until November the 5th. And there's been a delay in sentencing for a dangerous offender assessment for Randall Hopley. Hopley took 3-year-old Keenan Hebert from his home in Sparwood, BC, and held him for 4 days in September of 2011 before returning the young boy to his home unharmed. A Cranbrook judge's decision to apply for a dangerous offender assessment was an unusual one because the guidelines say the crime has to be one that inflicts serious injury or damage. Now, the judge said while the boy wasn't physically hurt, the trauma of the event could have a lasting impact. The assessment from Hopley's report has not yet been completed. The case was set over until November the 19th to set a date for the hearing to take place. A battle between a Lethbridge church charity and its own bishop isn't going to be resolved anytime soon in the courts. Catholic Charities Clothing Bank is seeking title to its buildings in Lethbridge. Now, the group won a court decision against Bishop Fred Henry back in March. An appeal was held last week in Calgary, but after hearing arguments for 2 hours, the judges have reserved a decision. Local charity spokesman says it could be up to 3 months before a ruling is handed down. He says the charity was hoping for a faster decision so they could make some badly facility-needed repairs. Okay, Joy Rossiter, temperatures aren't going to be that bad this week, but it's going to be the wind everybody's talking about.
Yeah, that's right, Jackie. There is a weak area of high pressure that's engulfing a little area of southern Alberta. We're included in that area, but there are a whole series of low pressure centers to the west of us, to the north, and even to the east. And of course, the rotation around those lows are really impacting us. So I'll have all the details coming up in a couple of minutes.
All right, thanks, Dory. Well, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business ranks Lethbridge Canada's 9th most entrepreneurial city. The annual study was released today, evaluating 103 Canadian cities. Medicine Hat ranked 88th on the survey. Grand Prairie, though, claimed top spot for the 3rd year in a row. 800 XL workers have avoided the plant's temporary layoffs at least for one more day. The employees are being called back after the Brooks plant announced Saturday that 2,000 people are being temporarily laid off. One-day shift has been recalled for tomorrow so the CFIA can complete its inspection of the plant. The facility was shut down almost 3 weeks ago after meat tainted with E. coli was linked to the beef processing plant. At least 15 people have become ill. Tomorrow, inspectors are going to process the carcasses left in the plant to test the new controls being put in place. And in order to do that, they needed a shift of workers. Alberta's agriculture minister says the worry was, with those layoffs, that the inspection could not be completed.
If all the workers go home, that would interfere with that. So that was the reason for my desire to speak to Mr. Nielsen this morning. And first thing he told me was they were putting a shift back to work for that exact purpose.
And that shift will be in tomorrow morning. There's still no firm date when the plant will be back up and running. Supports are now being offered, though, to workers at the plant. Things like help with filling out their EI forms. Today, the CFIA began destroying the contaminated meat at the center of the crisis, and they say that no meat will leave the Brooks plant until XL proves that they can produce that meat safely. Many kids in Lethbridge are turning up their noses to the flu shot this year. It's the first time in Alberta that children can get vaccinated with nasal mist, but some adults and some kids are still stuck with needles. Terry Vogt reports.
Alberta Health Services has launched its flu immunization campaign in hopes of reducing the impact of the upcoming flu season. For the first time, children, at least those between 2 and 17, can get their vaccine through a nasal spray instead of a needle.
They put it in your nose and it just drips down. That's what it feels like.
14-year-old Cody Lunn says he doesn't mind needles, but his mother admits it was easier to get Cody's little brothers and sisters to the clinic this year.
They really didn't appreciate having vaccinations before, so now that that has been eliminated, it's much easier for them. It's not as scary.
One needle less for children is always a good thing in that sense. And we also actually are trying to recommend that for the 2 to 17-year-old children, because we actually see that there's an increase in effectiveness in the nasal mist vaccine versus the injectable vaccine.
Health officials say there are some limitations with the mist. It can only be provided to healthy children, and it's not being made available to those with underlying health complications. Assessments are done before anyone is given a vaccine. And while the mist doesn't guarantee children will have a better experience, most parents are anticipating an easier visit this time around.
I think it's a better idea to have the spray than the needle, yes. I think most children will appreciate that more.
Health officials say at this point the mist is only being offered to children because research done so far shows that's the age group that it's most effective on. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
You can find a list for October's clinics in the Southern Zone on our CTV Lethbridge Facebook page or at the Alberta Health Services website. Students at the University of Lethbridge will attempt to set a world record Friday. The exact title of the attempt from Guinness is Most People Crammed into a New Volkswagen Beetle. The previous record, 25. The rules state each person must be at least 5 feet tall and 18 years of age. On Friday at the LSCO, as part of their Oktoberfest celebrations, 26 Lethbridge students will try to eclipse that record. They say it's a unique way to get people thinking about the LSCO.
Our funding source, some of them are drying up. Our members are getting older. We still want to provide some awesome services for our members going into the future. We want to be seen as the progressive, active living solution for seniors in Lethbridge. And in order to do that, we have to raise money. Part of that is bringing the community into LSCO.
Now, the night will also feature an accordion fest and music from the Chevelles. The attempt will go 7:30 Friday night. The 11th annual Harvest Moon Ball was another huge success for the St. Michael's Foundation. Fire spinners outside the Coast Hotel were just one of the major attractions for the annual fundraiser. Proceeds from this year's event will go towards new equipment and costs of moving the Bridge GCR unit from Lethbridge Centre to the St. Michael's facility. Our own Dory Rossiter served as Master of Ceremonies again this year. The goal was to raise $60,000. Now, totals aren't in just yet, but the event was a sellout, which tells organizers the community is very much behind their efforts.
You can tell that the community knows the importance of the facility and the work that we do, because there's some really important services that are offered in the Bridges program and the GCR program. And I'm always amazed at the way that the community just rallies behind and supports us, and we have a great turnout here tonight at the Harvest Moon Ball in support of that.
And we'll hear more about this year's Harvest Moon Ball on Thursday with Dory's story. It was a place to learn, to dance, to share ideas. This weekend, the local arts community celebrated the 100th anniversary of the Bowman Arts Centre. The building, located on 5th Avenue South across from the library, was originally built as a training centre to teach employment skills, and then it later became a school, a museum, and in 1965, an arts centre. The Bowman has 3 galleries and provides classes for children, adults, and individuals with special needs. The facility will be vacated in the spring when the new Community Arts Centre opens east of Galt Gardens.
It has always been a place to learn and to experience. It started out as a manual training school and then evolved through many different school-type facilities until it arrived in the hands of the Allied Arts Council in about 1965. So since that time, the building has been cared for and enjoyed by the arts community as a place to do, learn, and experience the arts.
City officials say they plan to keep the building, although right now there are no definitive plans for it. Time now for a look at how the markets kicked off the week.